And they're called string theory, but they're stretching the boundaries of performance by turning concert halls into gigantic musical instruments. It's all straight ahead on tonight's Life and Times. Most musicians on a gig bring their instruments with them, whether they be a rock band or a chamber group. But we found an unusual ensemble that actually builds the instrument at each location, creating a unique sound for each performance. They're called string theory, and as Vicki Curry discovered, the results are captivating. This is string theory.
I call them harps. I call them long string harps. They are a certain kind of harp, but they're definitely not the normal kind of harp.
Not normal unless you're watching this extraordinary ensemble at work. The musicians, dancers, and artists who make up string theory create a unique, site-specific version of their signature instrument at every performance.
When string theory is at its best, it's like a comprehensive performance environment that completely envelops the senses of the viewer.
On this night, it was Vibiana, the former cathedral turned performance venue. Strings stretched across the space transform it into a giant sculptural instrument.
It's such a unique sound, and visually it's so interesting. It just makes it a little bit more special, and I think that's what audiences take away from it too. It's such a unique experience.
The long strings are complemented by traditional instruments like cello, violin, and guitar, on music ranging from classical to contemporary. The repertoire reflects the diverse backgrounds of string theory's founders. Luke Rothschild, Holly Rothschild, and Joseph Harvey first met in Chicago.
Luke went to the Art Institute and Joey studied classical cello, and I come from a dance choreography background.
Some friends and I, when we were in the sculpture department at the Art Institute in Chicago, we learned about this woman named Ellen Fullman,
who is said to have come up with the concept of taking wire like this and stretching it great distances.
And she's sort of a performance artist with new music, new classical music, and we really love the sound of it.
They weren't tuned in a Western scale or anything like that, and it was what we wanted to do is we wanted to play music that we really enjoyed, like songs that in a 12-tone scale or like a normal tuning, and so we were able to figure out a way to tune the strings in a way that we wanted to.
And we're learning more all the time, and so right now we have the things that we think the long strings can do well, and so we make it do those things in the pieces that we write for it.
Let's go to the ending.
Okay. Luke, how does this work? Tell me about the long strings.
Okay, so here's the resonator, and this is the body of the instrument that amplifies it. And this is rosin, which is the same type of rosin that one uses with a violin or a cello. And what happens is these brass wires are quite taut. They go the length of the space. When I go like this, I'm generating a compression wave, and the molecules are vibrating out to the tuning block and back into the bridge and igniting the resonator with energy, with vibration and sound.
And so then the way you tune it or make each string have a different note is by the location of the tuning blocks.
So if we come from here out to here, here's where the vibration ends. This oak block clamps the string, and the vibration comes in, is blocked off, and shoots back down to the resonator and ignites that with sound.
I really like that sound.
The end sound's really cool, right? The finish goes.
Yeah.
The closer to the bridge you are, the higher the pitch. So we use a C chromatic scale, and our C note is about 23, 24 feet from our resonator. Our middle C, and then we go up chromatically, and we have 12 notes per side.
Luke
Music designs and builds all of String Theory's harps. Each one of the various shapes and sizes makes a slightly different sound.
I kind of have an innate sense of what a resonator kind of does, you know, but by no means in a scientific way. I got my degree in painting and drawing, and so what I wanted to do was create resonators that looked really beautiful, but also would enhance the attractive sounding elements of the instruments.
To install the harps, the resonator must be fixed in place, and then each wire stretched and attached to another fixed point. The strings have to be at least 23 feet long, but can go up to 1,000. So it takes hours to set up and tune each harp.
It always seems like it's down to the wire. No pun intended, no kidding.
The site-specific nature of the installations is different every time, you know, even in the same places sometimes. And at first it was daunting because you were kind of worried that, you know, it might not work out. But it always has.
Now I feel like we've been doing it long enough that we're really highly adaptable, and also I feel like it makes the work more interesting in a way. We like the idea of sort of the space or the environment forcing change upon what's happening.
The space is a big part of String Theory's work and brings an added visual element to their performances. They've played venues around the world, some outdoors, some in, including art museums, office buildings, and the openings of Segerstrom Hall in Costa Mesa and the Walt Disney Concert Hall in LA.
I've never been so conscious of architecture until we started doing these installations, because we're kind of integrating ourselves directly into it. And I've heard people tell me this too, like after the show. It makes them think about the space in a different way.
Once the installation is complete and the harp's ready to play, String Theory adds one final visual element to the performance: dance.
It's much more interesting to watch a dancer play them than a musician necessarily, you know. There's a lot of physicality that goes with that, and it was wonderful to see Holly kind of absorb and kind of take the lead as far as creating a language of movement that incorporates the actual playing of the instrument, of the harps.
It was so natural because of the scale of the installations and the scale of the instruments, that there was just so much movement available in playing the strings and the size and the landscape and everything. So it just seemed immediately available.
Music, dance, and sculpture like long string instruments. String Theory calls it transforming architecture into theater. But when they leave behind an old space, they also leave behind the performance that happened there.
We have to physically adapt ourselves to the space, and so that will engender a different performance no matter what. You know, afterwards it feels like a bit of an achievement, you know. I mean, we've definitely played our set, but also we've kind of created an environment that's never been created in that space, and then it goes away.
For more information about String Theory and future performances, you can go to their website at stringtheoryproductions.com. And that's our program. I'm Val Zavala. We'll see you next time.